Thank you for watching our video. Please give us a big like, subscribe to our channel for new videos every day with amazing cars. Leave us your opinion in the comment section on the video. Thank you. U.S. light vehicle deliveries, boosted by healthy incentives, America's surging appetite for light trucks and an extra weekend of sales, rose 5.2% in June as the auto industry closed out the first half of 2018 on a high. The seasonally adjusted sales rate for June came in at 17.47 million, up sharply from June 2017's sale pace of 16.72 million and May's 16.91 million rate. "We're in a good, old-fashioned bull market right now," Charlie Chesbrough, senior economist for Cox Automotive, told Bloomberg News. "There's been quite a bit of concern regarding trade and tariffs, but car buyers don't seem to be worried yet." The biggest automakers in the U.S. all posted increases, wrapping up the first half of 2018 on a positive note amid analysts' forecasts of a rougher ride later this year. It was the fourth monthly and second biggest sales advance of the year. Through June, sales have risen 1.9% over 2017's level. Still, most analysts had been projecting the industry will end the year below the 17 million mark for the first time since 2014. FCA US chalked up an 8% gain, its fourth straight monthly advance. General Motors, fueled by incentives averaging more than $5,200 per vehicle, was up an estimated 5.7%, ahead of the paces set by American Honda and Toyota Motor Corporation. Ford Motor Company and Nissan Motor Company eked out small gains. "The U.S. market is virtually saturated," said Jeremy Acevedo, manager of industry analysis at Edmunds, before today's results were released. Add to that record-high vehicle prices, rising interest rates and historically high numbers of people who own more than their cars are worth, and the stage is set for a market contraction. GM, however, suggests there's plenty of momentum left. Tax reform raised take-home pay, consumer confidence is high and household balance sheets are healthy, said the automaker's chief economist, Elaine Buchberg. All of this plus a strong job market makes consumers more willing to commit to major purchases like vehicles. Company by company. Ford Motors U.S. sales rose 1% in June behind higher pickup, SUV and crossover demand. Deliveries edged up 1% at the Ford brand and 2.8% at Lincoln. The company's retail sales increased 2.9% to 156,788 last month, while fleet volume dipped 2.3% to 73,847. At Toyota, June volume jumped 3.6%. A 13% gain in light truck deliveries offset a 9.2% dip in car demand. Sales rose 4.4% at the Toyota division but fell 6.2% at Lexus. FCA US, helped by stronger results at Jeep and Ram, posted an 8% increase. Volume rose 19% at Jeep, 6% at Ram and 9% at Dodge, while deliveries skidded 32% at Chrysler and 36% at Fiat. FCA said U.S. retail sales totaled 155,208 last month, its best June since 2004. At Nissan Motor Co., June volume rose 1.2%, with sales up 2.5% at the Nissan brand but down 13% at Infiniti. Truck deliveries rose 9.7% last month while car sales dropped 7.5%. Honda Motor Co.'s light truck sales rose 12% to a June record of 78,483, offsetting weaker car volume and helping the company achieve a 4.8% overall gain. June deliveries increased 5% at the Honda division and 3.5% at Acura. Among other automakers, June deliveries rose 18% at Hyundai, 15% at Subaru, 0.8% at Kia, 5.7% at Volkswagen, 20% at Mazda and 46% at Mitsubishi. Among other luxury brands, June volume rose 1.5% at BMW, 8.3% at Porsche and 21% at Land Rover, but slipped 20% at Jaguar and 51% at Genesis. Volume continues to be driven by a strong economy, job growth and healthy light truck demand, notably crossovers. Low but rising finance rates are also supporting industry sales, automakers and analysts say. Sales were also driven by an extra weekend and early July 4th holiday promotions. Trucks rule. Even amid rising U.S. gasoline prices, the steady consumer shift to crossovers, SUVs and pickups continued last month and is helping to propel average new transaction prices higher. ALG estimates the average transaction price for a new light vehicle was $33,148 in June, up 0.7% from a year earlier. Kelley Blue Book says June was a particularly strong month for pickups, as average prices for full-size models rose 5% to just over $49,000, behind new models and a richer trim mix. Pricing for mid-size pickups, a segment without new products, climbed 3% in June, Kelley Blue Book says. U.S. new vehicle sales, after 7 straight annual gains capped by a record 2016, dropped 1.8% to 17.25 million units last year. SPIFs. The average new vehicle incentive was tracking at $3,765 in the first 3 weeks of June, J.D. Power says. ALG estimates average new vehicle incentives rose 4.6% from June 2017 to $3,779 last month, with the Detroit 3 among the biggest average spenders on deals. ALG pegged GM's average June outlay at $5,256, up 18% from a year earlier. Thank you for watching our video. Please give us a big like, subscribe to our channel for new videos every day with amazing cars. Leave us your opinion in the comment section on the video. Thank you.